Welcome to Try Talking Sport, the podium podcast for athletes, adventurers and endurance enthusiasts, hosted by me, Joanne Murphy. Happy New Year everyone, and thanks for tuning in. I can't believe it is the 1st of January already and that this is the first episode of 2020. A new year and a new decade. The new year brings with it lots of opportunities to reflect on the previous year, to be happy for what we have received and achieved, and maybe a bit sad for what we have lost. But it's also an opportunity to be grateful and appreciate what we have whilst looking to the future of where we are going and what we are doing. Thankfully, over the past 10 years, there have been more personal and professional highs than lows. I've met some incredible people, been to fascinating places, raced at all distances of triathlon, raced with and set 2 Irish cycling records with the Galway Babes, Breach, Karen and Marie, who have become more than teammates and friends, but have become part of our family. I've worked with some fabulous people and wonderful companies, and I'm very fortunate to be in a position to pursue my passion for sport as a full-time profession. They say that time flies when you're having fun, and this has been one hell of a whirlwind. We've heard on the show that sport has the power to change a life, and triathlon has changed my own life for the better. And as we go through the next 12 months, I'm going to be repeating the mantra of living the lifestyle. And that lifestyle is of an active triathlete. In the past year, work and life have been very busy, and I've had a less than active approach to being an athlete. But it's time to take back control and embrace the love of the sport of triathlon, from training to racing, swimming, biking and running my way through the year, and not just talking about it or just talking at races or events. So watch this space. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey with the podcast so far, and for your support of the shows by tuning in. We set out to give airtime and a platform to people doing extraordinary things in endurance sport, to spread inspiration and motivation with our guests, and to encourage you, the listeners, to follow your own passion for sport in whatever guise that may be. I'm so delighted to announce that we have hit 10,000 downloads of the show, which, considering the number of shows released to date and our pretty niche market, is flipping brilliant. Thank you all so much. Huge thanks to everyone who has downloaded the show, shared it and reviewed it. I really appreciate it. A big special shout out to the producer of the show, who is a legend in his own right and has supported and steered the show in the right direction from the original concept back in January 2019 right through to today. Now, before we head into this first episode of 2020, just to let you know, we launched our January Fitness Challenge this week with our partners Nuco. You can check it out on our social media channels or on www.trytalkingsport.com. It's very easy. Simply complete 15 hours of physical activity between January 1st and 31st to be in with a chance to win some great prizes. It's not too late to sign up, and it's the perfect opportunity to set some fitness goals for 2020 and the year ahead. Now, to our guests this week, I'm delighted to kick off 2020 with Con and Aaron Doherty from Westport, 2 brothers who have raced internationally for Ireland across running, triathlon and cycling. Con, a high-performance triathlete, is chasing Olympic qualification on the road to Tokyo whilst continuing his college studies. He has raced triathlon since 2010, pretty much grown up with the sport, and has a long list of great results since first dipping his toes in triathlon. In 2019, he had an exceptional year with multiple podium finishes on the domestic and international circuit. Aaron, the younger brother of the 2, is currently studying in the University of Limerick. He has transitioned from running to triathlon, turned his hand to professional cycling, and has come full circle to return to triathlon in 2019. He is the 2019 Triathlon Ireland BMW National Series champion and the Junior Elite National champion. Continues to race as a cyclist domestically. We shoot the breeze in this episode and chat about the journey in sport, the importance of goal setting, mastering your skill, self-discipline, sibling rivalry, and general passion for sport. Welcome to the show, Con and Aaron Doherty, 2 brothers from Westport who join me here in Galway today, both after completing the St. Stephen's Day 10K in Athenry. Con finished in 3rd position today, a great run for him. We'll hear more about that later on. But before we get stuck into the show, I want Con and Aaron to introduce themselves to you, because I will not do justice to the sporting background that these boys have. So Con, we'll give the microphone over to you to start.
Oh geez, right. My name's Con. I'm a triathlete for Ireland, a high performance triathlete. I'm trying to qualify for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, and I'm studying in the UL, University of Limerick. I'm a scholarship student down there, and I guess that's me.
Trying to go for the Olympics. You've had a phenomenal year this year.
Yeah, it's not been bad. Could have been better, could have been worse. I think I'm still progressing. I had a very good junior career, and then took a few years to transition over. And this year, I guess I've never been so motivated in my life, and there's a lot of things that I've realised I can improve on. So yeah, I'm very excited. And yeah, there's nothing I prefer to be doing than following the dream. Yeah.
Swim, biking, and run your way to Tokyo, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll come back to that now, because you're the first set of brothers and family members we've had on the show, and I think Aaron might be the quiet one of the two today. But Aaron, tell us a little bit about your background in the sport of triathlon, and in cycling specifically, really, I suppose, is where your major area would be.
So yeah, my name is Aaron Doherty, brother of Con. I'm 19, and I started off as a triathlete. I think running was my first sport I took up, really, and then swimming and cycling was actually the last one. And then I dropped the running and the swimming, and then went full-time cycling. But I've done full circle now, and I'm coming back to triathlon.
And you've been following in Con's footsteps, really, because
okay.
well, Con, you had a breakthrough year really in 2018. I mean, you did a phenomenal year of racing last year, but 2019 has been your year for triathlon, I think, Aaron, has it?
Okay, you can say that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I've had a great first year. Like, it's my first proper year triathlon. Like, so yeah, national series champion. So I can't complain. I see how far I can go next year and go up another step.
You've only been running about 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because last it was this time last year I made the decision to change over to triathlon, and then within like a month, I was just doing like crazy work. Like I went in straight into running like 50k a week. And I wasn't fit for it, and then
after sitting on your
sitting on a bike for 4 years, not doing any injustice to cycling. It's not like just sit on your ass. That's not what cycling is. But it's such more like running's like such more of a contact sport. Like there's so much
pressure.
Pressure in your joints and all that, and within a month or 2 months, I had a pretty serious injury.
Okay.
I had a stress fracture in the neck of my femur.
Kept running on it.
And I didn't know what was wrong with me, so I kept going. And don't do that.
Don't do that. Oh my God.
Don't do that at home, kids.
But you've both come from I suppose you're in the sport. Con, you were identified back in 2010, the Triathlon Ireland ID program. So you're nearly 10 years in the sport of triathlon. So you've been very sporty for a very long time.
Yeah.
Lots of people listening to the show might have only taken up triathlon in the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
But you've both come from a strong sporting background as well. I mean, you've both represented Ireland in running.
Yeah. And cycling.
And cycling as well. So tell me a little bit more about, I suppose, the journey from 2010 to...
Definitely not swimming.
Definitely not swimming.
Yeah.
Well, are you more the swimmer? I don't know, are you more the swimmer? Neither of you really are the swimmers.
Maybe someday, hopefully, I'll become a swimmer.
Hopefully I'll be getting better as well.
But I suppose, if you look back over the past number of years, where or tell us a little bit about your journey to now, to today, to St. Stephen's Day or Boxing Day in the UK, 9 years of triathlon.
I think it's not even before that, because I think we're very blessed to have the parents we had, because especially we were, because I mean, when I was growing up, I remember I was very, very I wanted my own way with things, and I remember I wanted to try everything I seen. I mean, like, I tried karate, horse riding, boxing, bloody Irish dancing, like everything.
Has he any Irish dancing medals?
No. There's some in
the house though.
I don't know where they come from.
Sean has some, or other brother.
So you have 2 other brothers as well. There's Ethan and Sean as well. Yeah. Ethan is definitely following in your footsteps as well, I believe, is he?
Yeah.
Trying to, at least.
Yeah. I'm trying to he's a tough cookie.
He's a tough cookie. If you can get the motivation together, he'll be world class.
Okay, so bring it back down to your very youthful stage of training. Colin.
Yeah, so we were able to do everything we wanted, and Mum let us we did everything, rugby, soccer, all anything I wanted to give it a go, and eventually we did swim. We both did swimming, just lessons up until the 12th grade, and then we did. I joined the swim club, and it was more like a thing that I just did because I had a couple of friends there, and it was something I just almost did. I don't know, I just did it, and I just enjoyed just going there, but I never thought of it seriously. And then I remember myself. We used to watch WWE, and I wanted to become. I remember Jeff Hardy was my hero, and this guy used to just jump off 20-foot, cages onto just floor, and I was I'm gonna have to get harden up, and I was well, the first thing I needed to get a 6-pack, and I was how am I going to get a 6-pack? Because I think I was 11, and I was they're not going to allow me into the gym, so what's the best thing you can do? And I kind of just did a bit of research, and running was the best thing to get lean, and I kind of was aware that I was I had some rolls on me,
I was a bit chubby, yeah.
A bit chubby.
You're a chubby kid.
Yeah, I floated well anyway. But I decided then to go out and just did a bit of running, and I remember we would just go out for walks, even the family, and I would do sprints. I started to kind of build up a kind of an ego about oh, I'm actually alright at running, and then I joined the cross country team in primary school, and then I got into my head that I wanted to do something crazy. My attention shifted to I want to do something run across America, not having seen Forrest Gump.
I remember the Iron Kid thing.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember I was a bit.
That's true, actually. I remember that.
You must have been about 8. You were 12.
Yeah.
I seen you showing Dad on the thing.
Oh yeah.
On the internet.
Because
this Iron Kid is an Ironman for kids. It's in America.
Iron Kids, yeah, we have them in the UK.
Funny enough, because I remember. I remember running to Dad's into the bedroom. Dad, he was asleep, and I was I figured out what I want to do. I'm run across America, and Dad was no, come on, do something useful. It was there's a thing called Ironman. So I then went off and researched Ironman.
And had your dad done triathlon before, or
no? He hadn't. No, he hadn't.
But he knew of Ironman and the triathlon.
And then I was that sounds crazy. And then I remember we were looking up what Aaron said, the Iron Kids, and I was showing Dad. I was we should go over to the States and I'll do this, and yeah, whoop some butts. And then we went to the TID day, or I went to the TID day after a girl in my swim club had recommended it because she'd seen it advertised, and we went up, and I somehow got on the squad. Obviously, I must have been okay, and even we went over to the first TI camp, and me and funny enough Russell was sitting down together, and he was even young. I think I was just gone 14, and he was maybe 18 or 19, and we were going around the table asking what we want to achieve, and I didn't even know what ITU was. I didn't know anything about triathlon. All I knew was there was Ironman. I think I had an idea of Chris McCormack, and that was it. And they came to me and they're what do you want to do? And they're all saying, they want to be the Olympic champion. I didn't even know it was in the Olympics. And then I was I'm going to win an Ironman. And then they're okay, that's a long way away. And I'm no, I'm going to do it next year. And I remember Russell looking at me not a chance. And I was well, what are you? And I didn't even know what we were there. We were in Spain on a high performance camp, and I thought it was an Ironman camp. And I was well, what are we doing here? And they were this is ITU. And I was what's that? And eventually I just figured I got into that.
And you've come a long way from then now. Yeah, you've had some serious results on the ITU circuit. Do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about some of those? Really had some serious results this year.
Yes, this year I won my first European Cup, and I won a few other continental cups around the world. My rankings steadily going up, and my each individual components going up, and it's been a steady progression throughout the years. So,
but the big focus for 2020 is to try and get to the Olympics.
Yeah, pretty much. There's I have a few other focuses in my head. I think it's very important. I mean, really, the only thing you can control in sport is the process. And that's once you become you need a goal to direct you. You really do. But if you become goal orientated, then you can kind of forget that you need to put in work to get there, and that like each day, the work is the most important thing, and the results will follow. And I think I don't like to put too much emphasis on, like, I want to go to the Olympics, but I have a few other goals to make sure that, like, I don't end up in a position where even if that doesn't happen, it destroys me. And it's more about, like, I actually, to be honest, I see it as like the sport, you should be about mastering it, a bit like a martial art. You know, it's not about being the best in the world. It's actually about, like, getting your black belt. It's about, like, mastery of a skill. And if you master the skill, everything else will fall into place. You can't control your competitor does. You know, so if you can become a master of it and literally reach your potential, everything else will follow. Like, and I mean, people that get a bit hung up on results when they've done their best, it can be a downward spiral. Like, it can be not the best way to look at it from my experience and what I see to be the optimum approach.
Of the sprint Olympic distances, races, which do you prefer?
Right now, the sprint, because I get even if I had to pick, actually, the Super League stuff. I mean, the Super League. I just got invited this year to do that, and I mean, like, it's super painful, but it's so on. I mean, like, in the ITU stuff, I think they're getting better at trying to make the races more exciting for spectators and making it more hilly and more technical, but Super League, I mean, like, they've completely revolutionized. I think it's a matter of years before they take, like, they take the limelight, because it's just, not only is it better for spectators, it's so fast, and it really tests an athlete. I mean, like, most of us train at nearly, like, every level physiologically, and we're training every, like, muscle in our body as triathletes, and I think it really does show who's the best athlete all around, because a lot of the times you can get away with hiding on the swim, the bike, or not really the run, but, like, the swim or the bike, you can hide, and I think there's no weaknesses in the likes of Super League. So if I had to pick Super League, and then right now I like the shorter stuff because I do better at it typically, but I think I'd prefer to be better at the longer stuff.
And Aaron, now that you've come back to triathlon after doing specifically cycling, I mean, you were on the Nicholas Roach team for a little while, but you decided to not pursue that. Why?
I was having such fun with it, and then it wasn't really fun anymore. I was just, like, getting way too serious.
So now you're still racing domestically here in Ireland, because I know you won one of the criteriums in Galway. That was the last time I actually saw your race, was in June of this year, wasn't it, down in Highfield Park?
Yeah, Colin was there.
Colin was there, and yourself, and you did a great race. Like, the thing is, it's really exciting to watch. The likes of
especially
the
crit race is very, very exciting. It's quite like Super League. Like, it's very short and sharp.
Yeah, it's very fast.
Yeah.
So what does a typical day look like for you now? Because you're in UL, I know obviously it's Christmas time. So what does the typical training day look like for you as a triathlete, as opposed to maybe what it looked like as a cyclist?
I'm pretty still working around the same hours, like, because I get up at, I'd say, like 6:30, and then every day except Fridays we train in the pool in the morning, so an hour and a half.
Is that with the UL crew? Aaron
O'Brien is coaching us in the pool, so he's coaching us all across the board, actually. So yeah, that's their first session. Swim in the morning, and then it can depend what day. It could be quite hard, or it might be a bit easier. But then in the evening, I usually 2 sessions a day, every day of the week, basically.
Swim, bike, and run.
Yeah, and then every day I swim, and then alternating bike run. Then.
And is there a nice group of you to train with down in UL? And would you train together ever?
Well, so I'm just away for when I come back to UL. I'll be training with himself, and there's a few down there. But another one, Killian Tierney.
Oh yeah, Killian's down there as well.
Yeah. So the three of us get on very well. So
you're in the Netherlands at the moment. In your you're finishing out your semester.
Yeah, a little place called Delft, just outside Amsterdam. I've actually been able to kind of do my own thing. Like, I'm self-coach. I do have people that advise me, and I think that's very important, that give input. But
so you're self-coached?
Yeah, because I'm 24, and I've had like over 10 years, 12 years in the game. And I mean, I think experiences, if you're conscious and you're trying to learn, I mean, and again, this goes back to, this is my take on how I would approach sport is it should be a mastery of a skill, and you know, the 10,000 hours and all that you're putting in work and you're trying to figure out what it is what you need to do to become a master of it. And you know, there's a lot of athletes that they need somebody there to tell them what to do, but I even see the thing is, I mean, I wake up at 4:30 most mornings in the Netherlands to go swimming.
I thought I was doing good at 6:30.
This is where the sibling rivalry now starts, is it?
I don't think we're fighting over. I'd stay in bed later if I could, but
So 4:30 in the morning wake up call.
yeah, but I think like even practicing like discipline, like I've learned more in sport than I've learned in anything in my life. And I mean, learning, especially when it's one thing to become great and people helping you do it, or even being pulled along the way. But like if you can, you want a team, but if you can do it yourself as well, consciously, like figuring it out and actually understanding. I mean, like I learned so much about how people work just from the way I, you know, do sport, and how to conduct myself in every other aspect of my life. And I think that's very important, and that's how I see what I do in training. So talk me through your typical training load then. So I typically wake up. It could be 4:30 or 6, depending on the morning. Train in the morning. It could be 1 or 2 sessions. So I swim every day, and swim, and then there's 3 gyms in the week, and they typically be after the swim sessions in the morning. And then I go to college from pretty much, I'll say on average is about from 9 till 2, then sleep, and then I go back and I do like my bike or run.
And what would the bike or run be? Would it be a 2-hour bike, an hour run?
It depends. So at the moment in the off season, I'm doing a bit more like endurance type stuff. So like I do 2 tempo runs during the week, which are like, you could sit on the treadmill and go to like 18.5, 19 k's an hour for 40 minutes. And they're like, it's really strong running. And similar on the bike, like I actually don't do that much long stuff. I do like 2, even on the bike. I do most of my stuff in the indoors on the trainer.
So would 2 hours be considered a long bike for you then?
Yeah, 2 to 2.5, but I do like, I don't really fall below 200 watts because I don't know, physiologically, don't really see that there's actually any benefit to sitting on a bike for 4 hours at 120 watts versus sitting on a bike for 2 hours at 220 watts or 200 watts. So I think, in terms of developing systems that are relevant for triathlon, that's what needs to be done, because we're not cycling the Tour de France. You know, we're not doing 6-7 hours a day. It doesn't make sense to me. So a lot of it's relatively short and sharp, but I'm still doing 24 hours a week, and it's at a pretty high intensity.
And how do you balance your college studies and the training load? That's tough. I mean, again, like it's become a matter of, I think like Aaron, I've learned to do the things that I really want to do in life and figure out what it is that I want to do in life, and not just be pulled around by things. I mean, not being afraid to figure out what it is and take that time to like be broke, not have anything, and figure it out. And I think Aaron's never ever done anything that he doesn't want to do, and that's even why he ended up in cycling and then coming back. Yeah, and
discovering that I had a heated discussion with my mother 2 weeks ago about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did Mammy say?
Well, I was talking about college, and I like college, but I don't know if the course is 100% for me.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of like changing course. But I'll finish out this year and see how it goes. But I was thinking about it, talking about it, and Mum was like, "Oh, you know, sometimes you just gotta." She's pretty sick of me like changing, switching, like doing this, doing that, and then like not really know what I'm going to do. Like maybe having a different plan next week than the week before, and then I said to her, I was like, maybe if I do a different course next year, and then she was like, you know, sometimes you just got to do. You got to do things, and even if you don't like them, you know, you just got to do them anyway. I was like, nah.
And I think that's like, we had this discussion as well with just people we know so we've met there over the weekend, and somebody said that. I mean, we really, I don't agree with it at all. I think that's a very unthought way of approaching things, and if you really, firstly, if you figure out what your passions are, you really don't care about how much you make or what's your status.
Well, I don't think any of us would be in the business that we're in or doing what we're doing if it was about the money.
Absolutely,
to be honest.
absolutely.
I genuinely think, if somebody had said to me years ago that I would be doing what I'm doing now with a commerce degree, I'd have said, no, not a hope. I'll probably end up as an accountant or a tax advisor or something like that.
Why did you change?
You definitely would love.
But I love it.
Would you prefer this more?
Oh my god! I gave up a career in fundraising, an 11-year career in fundraising, to follow my passion. I knew that I loved triathlon.
And what caused the shift?
Sport.
Why did you decide? You know what? I'm just like, to hell with it.
Well, I suppose the side of it is that I had progressed. I had been doing the presenting for a while, since 2011, and it was 2015 before I was brave enough to maybe say, okay, I have enough behind me as a career, as an experience, that if this goes belly up and I don't work as an MC, or I didn't think of having a podcast back in 2015, might have fleeting thoughts of it. But if it didn't work, I had a backup plan that, look, I can always end up working again in fundraising somewhere, or I would do anything that it would take, because I wanted to follow my passion for sport. But that's similar to you as well.
Just like, would you have been satisfied if you didn't do it? Imagine.
No, I don't think so. No,
Absolutely.
I think it would have been at the back of my mind a lot of the time, and because I was already doing some of the presenting and the announcing, I was already doing some of it, so I had to make the decision: you either do it or you don't. And I came to a crossroads of either progress in my fundraising career and forever regret not taking that jump, or take a risk. And sometimes you have to take a risk.
I absolutely agree.
But it was a calculated risk.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely calculated risk. But it'd be the same with you, Aaron. If you were to step out of college, it's a calculated risk. It's a calculated risk going into the cycling, and then it's another calculated risk coming back out of it. You know, and your pride is a huge part of it as well.
Well, I think if you can kill pride, that's a great thing.
Especially in sport, it's all about pride, isn't it?
Because people, like, pride is a massive factor, and like ambitions about things that really might not mean much to you. You know, if you cannot worry about things that are very superficial, you can figure out a lot more about how to approach things. I think it makes life a lot easier.
So if you were to choose a different college course, because I think this is quite interesting, because you're 19 years of age now, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who were at your age who are listening and kind of going, God, I wish I'd done something different back in the day when I was in college myself. Or maybe there's young people listening. I know there are, in fact, young people listening to this as well. So what are you going to do? Are you going to take your mum's advice and stick it out, or
no?
No, mommy.
But do you not think that, like, as we go through life, there's things that will come up that we don't like, that we kind of...
No, yeah, but like, okay, let's investigate that, because I think you have to...
Like, if you're working in a job and you don't like it.
Yeah, but what are you...
You're not going to quit
what's
at the
your
first
responsibility?
hurdle.
Because I think it is different if you have a family and you have to look after people. But for us now, I mean, we're completely independent. And we have our family, our parents, thank God, are in a good place that we don't need to like worry about them. We can't really speak for other people. You can't speak for everybody.
We're very lucky to be, like, I don't know, have the parents that we have who can support us to do whatever we want to do. Whereas if you have a family, like you can't just say, I don't like my job.
No,
even though you've got 3 children to support.
Well, my mum gave me a great piece of advice years ago, and she said, write down all the things that you want to do, and then write down the things that you don't want to do. So if you write down the things that you don't want to do or you don't want to be, then at least you can just pass them off. You say, I don't even have to look at them. So now
it's a process of elimination.
It's again back to the
that's
process.
Another thing. I mean, like we said this again. Like life is probably about process of elimination, because
what's the chance you're going to find the thing you really want to do?
Very unlikely.
You're going to find the things you don't want to do.
But if you can fail as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and that's the same thing with even like a study in product design. That's what we're taught. We're like, fail quickly, because you learn so much. And I mean, it's somebody that thinks that they're doing the right thing and they're not willing to change their position. They're like, unless they're very, very, very lucky, it's likely that they're going to fail. And I mean, if you can, anybody that's top of their game, they'll say the same things. They'll say, fail, figure it out. Don't be afraid to.
But even in racing, I mean, if you're down in the swim and you're coming out of the water behind the lead pack, you need to change your process to get to the
imagine you just decide, I'm just going to pull out, because I'm like, like, that's not how you approach things.
So how often in a race would your race plan not go to plan, maybe, or would you have to I suppose, reinvent the wheel a bit in terms of I had decided I was going to stick at this heart rate, but I'm maybe ahead in the swim or behind in the swim. I'm going to nail the bike. I'm not going to nail the bike.
Yeah. For us, I think we never use, I guess, tech in in our race just because it's so short and sharp. But like, I'd have an idea. Aaron's now, he's only in the sport like again a year, so he's kind of figuring out where he is. But for myself, I mean, when I'm racing, I have an idea about the capacity of my rivals, and
how important is that you know
I
the
think
competition?
it's very, very important, especially now as it's getting like it's becoming more competitive, and athletes, I mean, in the past triathletes used to be like you'd see guys coming from a swim background or a run background or a bike background, but I think this is the first generation with Von Sanoui, the Brownies, Blumenfeld. This is the first generation where they started as triathletes. For me, if I'm having a really, really, really bad day, I mean, if I was way down, at least I can like compare myself to say, well, I'm usually, you can just take it apart, the race apart, and say, I should be there, so something was wrong. And if it's really bad, you know, you might pull out. I mean, that's pretty rare, but like, you make the call and you say objectively, I'm probably 10% off. There's no point in continuing. Don't take it to heart. But then majority of the time, you just get on with it. I mean, don't become emotionally too, I don't know how to say invested,
too stuck on the plan.
Stuck about the plan, yeah.
And then, like, talking about today, I mean, St. Stephen's Day, out at the 10k in Athenry today, you finished in third position behind
that's a good example, actually.
Mick Classy and Hugh Armstrong. But Hugh Armstrong ran a course record today, and Mick Classy, if he had run it last year at the same pace he ran this year, would have also broken a course record. But you were third. Did you expect to run as fast going into that race today?
Again, like that's a good point to make, because I had planned to go with Mick and I didn't know Hugh was going to be there, and you know, the conditions weren't perfect today. Like, it was windy and the course was actually tough, and I thought, okay, I'm going to stick with Mick. I knew Mick's done that race for the past like 8 years, so I was able to see his times and be like, okay, I'm just going to hold Mick, and if I can do the time of around 30-40, I think it's a good day. So they went out, and Aaron had planned to stay with us for 5Ks. And I mean, we went out the first kilometre, like uphill at 250. And I was like, I can't do this. There's no way. So I think I held on to like 2.5 kilometres and then let them go. And then I switched my watch when I'm feeling bad and I'm trying to keep my head away from like numbers and stuff. I'll just switch the clock face because I don't want to know what the time is. And I just kind of got on with it and just decided that was like, I had to change my race plan because the two guys took off faster than I expected, and now I was by myself and I was exposed, and I was like, okay, well, just switch off, focus on what you got to do. And then I ended up, there was at the 9k mark, they had like the timing system to say what time we were, and we went through in like 27:43 or something. I thought, okay, we're not running quick, or I'm not running slow, they're running quick. So then put the hammer down, and I was happy out because
handy it's downhill into the finish line instead of the arch.
Thank goodness.
And then Aaron, you had a great race as well today. Where did you finish today? You were definitely in the top.
I think I was 15th.
But he was sixth. He was sixth up until 5k.
So I was only there for 5k. I was only present for 5k, and then I started walking. But that was my plan, just that, you know, in case anyone thinks I'm soft.
Anyone sees you on the video.
Yeah.
But you still finished. I mean, you finished quite strong today as well.
So my plan was to get a 5k time because my body's a bit weak, as I said. Like,
Christmas dinner yesterday.
Well, it's just a win. Like, he has to be safe when injuries.
So what's next for you then, Aaron, for 2020? What are you?
I don't know.
Other than changing course in college.
As Con said, like, I don't really have many like real goals. Like, I just like perform as well as I can. But
do you enjoy it?
And triathlon?
Yeah,
definitely.
What's your favourite part of it, or why?
I like training. Training is really good. Yeah, I find it very enjoyable. I like the variety of it. I like how there's so many different things that you're not like. It doesn't become like a monotonous like
process.
Yes, like just loop.
And is biking your favourite of the three?
Yeah, I suppose. Well, maybe not the training, but definitely when you're in the race, like you pass people, like you're just flying by. It's unreal. Some mornings you'd be in the pool and it's like really like,
what am I doing here?
No, you can actually like you'd be ready, like you feel really good and you're like, this is class, and you feel the water, There's other days you'd be like, feel like a brick in the water. It'd be horrible. But yeah, I don't know. It can change like from week to week. I have no real like love for one over the other.
Yeah,
I like them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Con, what about you? Of the 3 disciplines, what are your?
It's usually the one I'm going best at.
Yeah.
But I don't. I think if I had to pick, I was even talking to Hugh after the race. I mean, if I had to pick one tomorrow that I had to just focus on, it would be running. And I think it's just running's so easy. Like, I mean, you can run anywhere. Swimming's pretty cool when you're like, you feel the water and you get into a rhythm. But running, I don't know. I love the freedom of running, and I mean,
you can kind of do it anywhere.
You can do it anywhere, and I think it's so natural. I mean, you like I'd be holistic and organic in terms of my approach to running. Like even I bloody wear like kind of very very minimal shoes everywhere, and I think that like it's a very natural. You're supposed to run. I mean, your body is actually built to have running as some part of your daily life. So I do think that that's probably for me. I get the most enjoyment out of it, and I get the biggest high, I think, as well.
Out of the running.
Yeah.
And today you ran your fastest 10k.
Fastest road 10k.
Road 10k today.
Yeah. So it's good because I mean, at this time of the year, we're still in the off season, and I've been doing endurance runs and shaping up again. Even my swim's improving. My bike I did a bike test 2 days ago, and that's really good. So look, I'm in a good place coming for this year. So
talk to me about nutrition, because it's I suppose really the fourth transition is the fourth discipline, but nutrition and recovery are so important in triathlon as well. So how do you fuel all the training that you're doing? What sort of foods do you eat? Are you gone down a particular type of food road?
Loads of turkey.
Loads of turkey.
No, I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
Now. So I've played a lot with diets and stuff, and I found I just was slowly reducing meat, and I guess I was reducing this because I'm studying sustainability in my course. So it's just in terms of like what we're doing for the planet. I'm not trying to preach to anybody out there as well. Like, I think you should do whatever you want, but I just learned that like it's meat production is so bad for like just for the environment. I mean, and then the other thing is the conditions that a lot of the animals are in is just. I mean, you wouldn't kill the animal yourself. I mean, I don't think a lot of people, if you just put yourself in a position if you had to do it, you wouldn't do it. And I think I was being ignorant for a lot of time, just because like you can put it off in your head, and eventually I was just like I feel like a hypocrite, because I mean I would be very much so. I think love's like so important, and like everything is about love, but I'm thinking this and I'm saying like, well, you're not actually acting like this, and so. Yeah, I eventually just cut it out, and I did it slowly. I'm not trying to like spread out propaganda about all this, but like I'm now in college this semester, and I'm training 4 hours a day, and I'm sleeping because of college. It can last for up to 9 hours during the day, and then I prep all my food, so I eat very clean. I think as long as you're eating clean, you're not eating processed food, is fine. I'm only sleeping like 6 hours a day on average, and I'm recovering, and I've never felt so alive. Like, and again, I'm probably in the best shape I've ever been. And I don't know, like, I think diet plays a part. Probably that's not everything, but I also had a skin rash I used to get, and I found that cutting out like certain products has gotten rid of that, and. I've just figured out what worked for me. It might not work for everybody else.
Well, the food side of things are so important, because really, if you're putting bad food into your stomach, it's like putting unleaded petrol into a diesel car. Yeah. So your body has to run off the fuel that you feed it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you literally are what you're made of, or you are what you eat. And I think
I don't think it's that complicated. Like,
it's not that complicated. Just eat clean. Just eat well. And again, I'm not trying to preach to people what
and eat enough. Eat enough.
Eat enough. Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, like if you're eating whole grain, fibrous foods, and you're not putting like artificial stuff into it. If you're not tricking your body that it needs more, I think people will be typically like the obesity rates will go down and health will improve, and like you just have more motivation to do sport. And diet is honestly like it's
hard though.
It's hard. I think it's hard because we have so much options. We have so much options. Like
does it come back to you mentioned discipline earlier? Does it come back to pure and utter discipline?
I don't think purely,
also
but partly.
Education,
awareness. I think so. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize what it is that. The short-term reward of say putting a chocolate in your mouth. Is that like you don't see the long-term effects of doing it? And I mean, it's so easy. I did it. I still probably do it. Is that like you say it's like I'll just have one now and I won't do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I mean, but that is the thing is that is your mind tricking itself. That is what you're doing, and you wonder why can't I change it? But it's in every moment, like your decisions you make, and yeah, discipline partly. But I think if you're aware and you're conscious and you can just like look at things and not, I don't want to say this is the only other cursor. Do not bullshit yourself. Look at life objectively and say, don't trick yourself into things. And if it's a chocolate and you say, look, it's a chocolate. I know that there's the sugar in that, but you know what? Right now I want that. That's fine. I think everybody needs to treat themselves, but like, don't bullshit yourself.
Okay. Definitely your environment as well.
Your environment.
Because I've found that so whenever I'm down in Limerick, like whenever I'm doing during the weekdays down in college, I don't even think about like I've got such a sweet tooth. Oh, it's ridiculous. Like every single tooth that rotted out of my mouth when I was a kid.
Okay, and then I have pictures.
Yeah. Oh. My little baby teeth were, thank God they're gone anyway.
So do you still have the sweet tooth?
I do.
But and how do you curb the appetite for sugar?
I go down to Limerick and it just doesn't, I just forget about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens. And like, I don't know if it's like the environment of like, I know that like once I go down there, I've like, a switch in my head that's like you're training there, like this is, and then I come home and I don't know if it's like a comfort mode, like in your car, like you turn on comfort mode, you come home and then it's like
you almost have to change the routine. I was a devil for going into Applegreen on the way home from Dublin and getting like a flat white and a nice little bar of chocolate, and I had to stop. I had to stop going in because it was just the routine in my head that like there's my treat for going home. I have to stop.
Yeah. Like honestly, like I came home last Friday and I said, right, I'll just 3 days now until Con comes home and I'll show him how lean I've got, and like I'll show him all the good work and I'll show him how lean. I lasted 2 hours when I got home, 2 hours, and I just started binging on food. and as Con said there, I was like I started binging on food. It's like just tonight. Just tonight. I'll start tomorrow, and then I got to them tomorrow, and then I was like, no, just one more day, and then.
But it's like breaking a cycle, though, isn't
it? Absolutely, and I think Aaron's 100% right. Environment is probably the biggest factor.
And because and then even my training in Limerick, like I don't even think about my I just do my training. Like there's no question.
Yeah.
Like you just get it done, and whereas at home you're like, oh, I have to go train now.
So talk to me about sibling rivalry. Is there any?
When
you're racing together, the two of you?
Well, yeah, like I think the really good thing about having a brother in sport is like we would have gone out training our whole lives together, and I think you see like your sibling as being like literally the same made of the same stuff as you are. Like I think when you go to international competition or you go to any competition, you can look at somebody and be like, oh, they might be genetically better, blah blah. But when you look at your sibling, you're like, he doesn't have a benefit, or at least that's what you tell yourself.
Yeah.
And like you actually end up, I find, getting the most out of yourself, because it's not that like there's no one I'd rather see do well than my brothers in sport, 100%. But at the same time, I don't think there's anybody that could push me further.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's like you see them and you're like, I'm not trying to like lie to myself and say, oh well, maybe he's a bit better, or maybe like he's tired. It's like he's not. You just say he's not going to beat me because I'm tougher than he is. I can tough this out. Like,
what's the closest you've come in a race that you've raced each other in?
Ennis, I was pretty close to Ennis.
Yeah, like he was less. I think he was only a minute behind the sprint triathlon this year.
Honestly, that was my best race ever.
Are you proud of what Con has achieved, Aaron?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
It's good. Is that all I'm going to get? It's good. But you must be very proud of what you've done, Con, over the years. I mean, if you look at how you've grown in the sport from the early days and racing on the Irish circuit specifically, but then to step up and race internationally, and if you look at,
I think again, like, this is, I'm not very like Catholic, say, but like like I think they say sin is a pride for a reason. I think that like sin can be, or not, sorry, pride, it can be like, yeah, it's okay, and like in saying like, I think you did a really good job. But for me, when I was a kid, I'd have been very proud about results.
Okay.
And I think then I created expectation because of my pride. And then I had a few years where like I wasn't meeting my expectation. And I realized that was fueled a lot from pride, because if I actually had a good race, it was more of a relief. Because I wanted to keep an image about who I was, rather than going out in a race and doing the best I could. And then, it's only now that like even coming across a race finish, I mean, it's more like it's fun, and like in the moment, it's like it's all about like, you know, doing your best and like being present and like really like being in the race. And then as soon as the race is over, I don't have that kind of that feeling of pride anymore. It's more like it's just good crack, like it's fun.
Would you feel pressure before a race?
Not a whole lot, like, no.
You were pitted as number 1 going into one of your big races this year.
I don't get too nervous.
You don't get too nervous?
No, not really.
No. What about you? Do you get nervous?
Nervous will come with you should put expectations on yourself.
I think so.
So that's probably why you don't get nervous.
Possibly.
And that's
probably actually.
I wouldn't get nervous anymore. Like I used to get so nervous before like Mayo cross country races, anything. I don't know what it is about cross country races.
Yeah, I used to.
I know everyone's the same. Like anyone I've ever come across, it's just like cross country races are just the worst.
Yeah.
Like every kid gets sick on the start line.
Yeah.
And then I went to the World Cycling Champs and I was like,
so what?
I didn't even like no nerves at all.
Yeah. And I think as well, like you look at.
Then you're there in the under 12 Mayos and you're like dying.
Yeah, yeah. But like the top guys, I'm not saying that if you get nervous, that's okay, you know, because obviously you can't control how you feel. But like a lot of the guys, I do know that it would be the top. There's very few that do get nervous. And I mean, they might be like really, really hyper ambitious and focused. But I don't think they don't seem to get very nervous.
But would you have strategies to kind of keep yourself calm? Do you meditate or visualize yourself from the finish line?
Visualization's really good. Meditation.
Well, the only thing you can do is go as hard as you can, and then there's no point in getting nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't do that all the time,
maybe
though.
you can get nervous about the pain. I mean, okay, that's actually something I do get. I do get nervous about before a session.
Yeah,
because
you know it's going to be tough.
Really
before
hard.
some sessions, I actually get nervous because I'm like, this is
has
going to be so painful.
Yeah, and there's no getting away from it.
And I actually there's been sessions where I get more nervous before a session than before a race.
100%.
Yeah,
I've got more nervous before a 20-minute walk-by test in any race of my life.
And that's the white coat effect as well sometimes, isn't it? When you're going to the doctor, you get nervous about going to the doctor and they take your blood pressure and it's sky high, but it's called a white coat syndrome. Yeah. You talked about Ironman at the start. Obviously the Olympics are on the cards. Yeah. Fingers crossed, hopefully. Yeah. Well, the road to the Olympics are on the cards for 2020, but have your eyes set on any Ironman race that you might do in the future?
I think eventually I'll have to do it, because I mean, like, even I owe it to myself as a kid that I said I wanted to do it. So I have to I'll do one.
You said it now.
But I said it now. It's on this, now it's out there. But I think for there's a lot of guys now in ITU that are making jumps to say 70.3. Yeah. They do it as almost like base training. So at the moment, like the Norwegians, they do it. They keep it as like a thing to stay focused and something to train for. So I think maybe next year after the Olympics, I might do a 70.3. And 70.3, from what I'm told, it's like a 4-hour race is very different to 8-hour race. And they say that, you know, you can really race a 4-hour half Ironman. It's
not as big of a jump from Olympic to 70.3
as
70.3 is to full.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think I might do it just because I think I'd enjoy it. 8 hours though, like at the very fastest, like I don't know, like I don't think I'd enjoy it. I mean, I love racing. Like I love going head to head with people and like getting the most out of myself. Like that's what I really love, and getting the most out of other people. So I think in an Ironman where it's very isolated, and it's you versus you, which is good, but I really love the sharp stuff. And I mean, even I'm still relatively young. I want to kind of make the most out of that.
So we'll have people listening from across the world, from Ireland primarily and the UK, but from across the world. And if there's one piece of advice that you could give somebody in setting their goals for 2020 across racing or training, what would they be? I'll ask the same question to both of you.
You know what? I'll answer this question as well to tie it back to something we said earlier. I don't think we finished. It was that like the thing about like following your dreams and your passions and like not being afraid to fail, not just like racing and all that. I think like you should truly like you should limit the amount of things that you have to dedicate your life to, you know. And I think there's people that they have too much going on in their lives and they don't, you know, like you have family who deserve your time, and then you have to work, which deserves you have to be there. And you hope that the work you do, you're passionate about. And then if you have time for something else, you know, devote yourself to it. And limit the amount of things you're doing and figure out what it is that you want. And if you don't know what it is, spend your time figuring out what it is that you want to do. I mean, don't just do something for doing it. We were talking about a guy there we were talking to during the week, and he was like, I'm going to go to college as soon as I finish secondary school.
And I asked him what he wanted to do in college. He goes, I don't know. I said, so how do you know you're going to go to college? He goes, I just know I'm going to go to college. He didn't know what he was going to do in college, but he knew that he wasn't going to take a year out of school to find out what he wanted to do.
It just makes
he
no
was just
sense.
going to go.
It made no sense.
But is that not the pressure that the kids are feeling in those?
It is, but it makes
it
makes like you just look at it. It makes no sense. People are doing things that they don't even know what they're doing. I mean, you're just doing it because it's like a social norm.
Yeah.
Like there's no sense to it. I mean, I went to do study in UCD for a year, and I didn't want to go there, but I got a scholarship, and it was kind of the biggest scholarship in the country, and I was good at a certain subject. It was physics. My parents were like, they wanted me to go to college, and I was like, I want to take a year out. And I said, look, I'll listen to you, but if I don't like it at the end of the year, I'm taking a year out. And that's what happened. And I took the year out, and then I figured out something that I do want to do. But sorry, just to answer like what people should do. Yeah, I think it's like people have responsibilities and they have to do what they need to do, and that's 100% understandable. But like if you have a dream, it doesn't mean you have to throw away everything. Like you can slowly make your way towards it and take the first steps. And the first, you know, the baby steps are the biggest steps, I think, because they're the hardest ones. So yeah.
And Aaron, as the youngest person in the room today, what would your piece of advice be for somebody?
Jeez, I'd have to agree with him. Like, it's nothing, just follow your gut, really.
Follow your gut.
Yeah, do what you want to do. There's no other advice.
And if there was a race you could win in the world ever, what would it be?
Olympics.
Me too, of course. Absolutely. Yeah.
Has to be. I don't know how you could give any other answer.
Yeah. To be honest, if I had a choice though of, you know, if I got a choice to get a bronze medal at the Olympics or be a world champion, though I would pick world champion. There's a lot of athletes that wouldn't pick that, but
no, I'd go for
bronze medal.
I'll come back to you.
Come back next year.
Yeah.
Same time, same place.
Yeah.
For an update.
Good.
Maybe I get a bronze medal at the Olympics and then world champion. I'll let you know which one's better.
And on that very positive note from the Doherty brothers from Westport, we say thank you so much to Con and Aaron Doherty, who will hopefully have kept you entertained over the past almost an hour today. And a huge thank you to the two boys for joining me here in Galway after racing the fields of Athenry. Thanks as always for tuning in. Big shout out again to everyone who has been listening to the show and sending messages to me across all the social media channels. If you're enjoying the shows, please feel free to pop a review on Apple Podcasts or on the Facebook page Try Talking Sport. I really do love hearing your feedback on the interviews. We have a great lineup of guests for 2020. But if you have a suggestion for a guest, why not pop me an email to trytalkingsport@gmail.com. That's try with an I, not a Y. Best wishes to you all for 2020. I hope to see you on the start and finish line of a race this year. Until next time, stay safe and keep smiling.